Hello everyone. So thank you for joining today's pre-recorded session. We have two speakers today, myself, Joshua Cooper, and my colleague, Amrit Gill. And today we'll be delivering a presentation on remarketing subscribers shared between GA360 and Marketing Cloud. So now onto the agenda. So first of all, we'll just give a quick introduction to myself and my colleague, Amrit Gill. And then we'll be touching upon what is the GA360 integration with Marketing Cloud. So what are the key features of the integration? We'll then be looking at a bit more detail as to what the steps are to the integration within both platforms, so Marketing Cloud and GA360. And then we'll be giving a bit of food for thought in terms of how you can better leverage this functionality. So without further ado, just a quick introduction to myself. So my name is Josh Cooper. I'm a certified Marketing Cloud consultant at Capgemini. I have over 5 years experience within the CRM space, and I've worked in a number of different industries, so online food delivery, cybersecurity, retail, to name a few. And my day-to-day role involves working closely with clients to understand their Marketing Cloud platform requirements and designing and developing the right solution to suit their needs. So now just passing over to my colleague Amrit to introduce himself.
Thank you, Josh. Yes, so my name's Amrit Gill. Like Josh, I'm also a certified Salesforce Marketing Cloud consultant. I'm also a certified Pardot consultant, and I work for Capgemini. So I've worked with a number of organizations across retail, financial services, and recruitment, where I've helped them integrate both the Salesforce Marketing Cloud and Pardot platforms. Okay. So firstly, what I want to do, I just want to explain what is the actual Google Analytics 360 integration and explain in further detail how this works. So what I want to do first is just explain that the main goal of this integration is to enable customers to remarket to subscribers or audiences that are synced between both the Google Analytics 360 platform and the Salesforce Marketing Cloud platform. There are two features to this integration. So the first feature is the actual synced audiences that you can pass across from Google Analytics 360. These audiences can be used as an entry source inside of Journey Builder. We are going to talk about this in further detail as we go through this presentation. The second feature is the email tracking or email channel statistics that you can get from Google Analytics 360, and you can get this to sit directly inside of Journey Builder. So when you go to view stats in Journey Builder, you get to see this nice screen here that gives you more detailed information about the journey analytics. This is especially useful as you can track email opens, you can track email clicks through Marketing Cloud, but if you want more details, for example, goal completions, then you can get access to this data without having to go out of Salesforce Marketing Cloud and log into the Google Analytics 360 platform. So I just want to talk a bit about how the activation actually works, and I want to draw your attention to this part of the screen. So essentially, for the purpose of this integration, there's two types of traffic that Google Analytics would track. So the first will be traffic that we define as Salesforce Marketing Cloud traffic. So to explain in a bit more detail what this is, so this is typically any identified subscribers from Salesforce Marketing Cloud who may click on a link from your email. They will then enter your website, and Salesforce Marketing Cloud typically attaches a unique ID to these subscribers. They will then enter your website, and Google Analytics will attach their own client ID to the subscribers. What happens here is Google will match the client ID to the Salesforce Marketing Cloud ID, and then you'll have what's called an identified subscriber, which can be used in the audiences. We have other traffic who are not identified by Salesforce Marketing Cloud, so they may be unknown subscribers in Marketing Cloud, or just generally not subscribed to email communications. Because they don't have a Salesforce Marketing Cloud ID, that means Google Analytics can't match its client ID to your Salesforce Marketing Cloud ID. So these audiences will not be matched inside of Salesforce Marketing Cloud, and you won't be able to remarket to these audiences. So for the purpose of the integration, we will be focusing purely on traffic which can be identified within Salesforce Marketing Cloud. So there are 4 steps. Sorry, Josh.
Sorry.
That's okay. So there are 4 steps to how this activation actually works. So as I explained previously, for step 1, the traffic that originates, say, for example, from your email link that goes onto the website will come across with a Salesforce Marketing Cloud ID. The second step is the behavior will be tracked in, or sorry, the website behavior will be tracked in Google Analytics 360. The matching of the Google Analytics client ID and the Salesforce Marketing Cloud ID will happen in step 2. And then step 3, you can build your audiences in Google Analytics 360, which then allows it to be matched in step 4 inside of Salesforce Marketing Cloud. Okay. So the audience itself is shared on a many-to-one-to-many basis. So what this means is you have your Google Analytics 360 account. You also have your Salesforce Marketing Cloud account. So in your Google Analytics 360 account, you will have your organization account, and you will have properties sitting within that organization account. Bear in mind, every organization has a different layout in Google Analytics 360. So you could have one organization that has one website, which will consist of just one property. But other organizations may have multiple websites that sit across multiple different properties. The one thing to bear in mind is Salesforce Marketing Cloud can only connect to one property. So if you had one website that sits across one property, this will be quite straightforward for you, as Marketing Cloud can connect to that property, and then you can sync across as many audiences as you wish. If you had multiple websites or multiple apps that sit across multiple different properties, but you wanted to synchronize audiences that sit across multiple different properties, this could potentially cause you an issue. Now, our recommendation to get around this issue is to make use of the roll-up reporting functionality available inside of Google Analytics 360. So what this does is it allows you to aggregate data from all your different source properties and aggregate this data into one property, which can then be synced across to your parent business unit inside of Salesforce Marketing Cloud. So once you've synced across your multiple audiences, you then sync them across to your one parent business unit. And then depending on how Marketing Cloud has been set up, you can then optionally choose to move your audiences across to your different child business units, depending on what you need. So for example, audience A can be sent to your parent business unit, and you may choose to sync audience A across to your child business units 1, 2, 3, 4, however many business units you want. Audience B may not be sent to Salesforce Marketing Cloud, but audience C, you can send across to Salesforce Marketing Cloud's part of your parent business unit. And then you may only choose to sync that across to your one of your child business units. So before I pass it over to Josh to talk about the integration itself, I just wanted to go over a couple of prerequisites before you kickstart this integration. Now, some of these are going to be quite obvious, but it's still worth covering anyway. So the first one is you need to have an account that has administrator permissions in both Salesforce Marketing Cloud and Google Analytics 360. This is to enable seamless integration between both platforms. We would recommend that you have the same username for both the Google Analytics 360 and the Salesforce Marketing Cloud accounts. This helps make it easier for admin purposes. Secondly, it is worthwhile identifying who is actually going to be making use of the additional functionality that comes with the integration, and just make sure that their roles and permissions have been catered for in the setup in Salesforce Marketing Cloud. The third point may seem like a very obvious point. Yes, you do need to have Google Analytics 360 connected onto your website for this to actually work. The one thing I want you to bear in mind is the free version of Google Analytics will not work with this integration. And finally, if you want to receive and measure conversions or commerce data, then please make sure e-commerce is enabled in your Google Analytics 360 account. I'm now going to pass you over to Josh, who's going to talk you through the step-by-step integration to get both platforms integrated.
Thank you, Amrit. So provided you've met the prerequisites in terms of the setup, we then see 6 simple steps in order to complete the integration. So the first 4 steps are carried out within Marketing Cloud, and then the final 2 steps are carried out within the GA360 platform in that order. And we'll be covering each one of the 6 steps individually today. So first of all, covering the Marketing Cloud steps to integration. So the very first step within Marketing Cloud is within the Marketing Cloud administration settings within the Google Analytics integration. The first thing to do is link your GA360 account with your Marketing Cloud account. So this is really straightforward. All you do is you click on the link account button, and then you're prompted to enter your GA360 admin user credentials, which might be, a work domain, which has that Google connection, or it will be just a general Google domain. This will then kickstart the authentication process, and then we move on to step 2. So once you've authenticated the link between Marketing Cloud and GA360, you then decide the data views that you want to share under the property, and that data will then be available to Marketing Cloud. Step 3. So another administration step is to then configure the UTM parameters. So for those of you familiar with GA360 tracking, in Marketing Cloud, there is a feature called Web Analytics Connector, which allows you to auto-generate parameters onto your links embedded within your emails. So when a subscriber clicks through, the sort of things that general marketers will append is their UTM source, medium, and campaign. However, this feature goes one step further in that it also appends things such as like the SFMC ID. And that's essentially important for this integration because, as Amrit mentioned earlier, that SFMC ID is matched with the Google Client ID. And then once you have that matched subscriber, you can then market to them. So this is really important to ensure that this is enabled too, and it won't affect your Web Analytics Connector integration either. They work hand in hand. So naturally what this means is when you move on to step 4, at this point, what I would do is, based on sort of audience types that you think you might be sending to as an entry source, I would then part configure your journeys. So let's say you have an abandoned browse journey. I would go into the settings of that journey, which hasn't been configured yet. But what I would do is I would go into the settings at this point and click that checkbox within the settings to enable to track all links for all emails in this journey. The reason why I've included this step here is because this is easily a forgotten step. And if you don't have the tick box checked, then essentially your audiences will not be captured and then be able to market it to. So this is essentially important. You can do this before you activate the journey as a prerequisite there, but I would just say do it at this point so you don't forget. So we've completed the 4 steps within Marketing Cloud, and then we move into the GA360 platform in terms of the configuration steps there. So what are the steps within the GA360 platform? So with the logged in user with your GA360 credentials, admin credentials in GA, what you do is you go into the administration, and there should be a Salesforce Marketing Cloud product within there, where you will then enter your Marketing Cloud user credentials in order so that you can sync across the data between GA360 and Marketing Cloud. So there's creating the link there as well. So once those that preliminary activation is done, you can then create your audiences that you plan to sync across into Marketing Cloud. So I won't cover on the audience types that you might wish to market to at this stage, because Amrit will be covering that with some examples. But at this stage, you create your audiences, and then one thing to note is that when you create them, publish them. And when you publish them, that's when they should start syncing across. So we've completed the 6 steps. Once you publish those audiences, what you'll then notice is that when you go back into Marketing Cloud and go into Contact Builder, within the GA360 data sources, you'll see the audiences have become available in terms of what's syncing across. At this stage, you will then decide which audiences to provision to which business units. One thing to note is that audience sync subscriber IDs do not match retroactively. So what we mean by this is it's 24 hours from the publish date. Anything 24 hours prior to the publish date does not get synced across. And then once you're published, the data will sync every 24 hours thereafter. So that's just one thing to note. So I'll now be passing on to my colleague Amrit in order to give a bit of food for thought in terms of, how can you go further with this integration. So thank you, Amrit.
Thank you, Josh. So before we go into the potential audience types, I just wanted to remind you of the fact that Salesforce Marketing Cloud can only recognize audiences who have a matching Salesforce Marketing Cloud ID. So what this means is you may have an audience that comes from so many different channels, and not all of them will be recognized within the Salesforce Marketing Cloud platform. So with that in mind, it is worth doing an audit of your website and see which web pages drive the most traffic from emails. The reason to do this is it helps you to maximize the volume of match subscribers going into your customer journeys. Now, in terms of potential audience types, I'm just going to go into a couple of examples based on the audience types that we've got on this screen. So one of the most popular audience types that people use is if you're a retailer and you have someone browsing several product or service pages, but they abandon without actually making a purchase, then what you could do there is capture these people as an audience and then put them into a customer journey to remarket to these people to try and get them to purchase the desired product or recommend similar products that they may be interested in. Another example I want to go into is if you have a goal of people, say for example, you have people you need to register for an event that you're running or a seminar that you're running, you need them to complete a form. Some of the visitors to the page may abandon without submitting that form. If you can get these people captured as an audience and pass them across to Salesforce Marketing Cloud, then you can remarket to these people again and encourage them to sign up for your event or your seminar. There are many, many other potential audience types you can use, and these will differ depending on the industry that you are in. But on this page, we have put a few examples that you can read through. Okay. Now, once you do have the audiences synced across to Marketing Cloud, there is a bonus here that you can use these audiences in Journey Builder. So to remarket to these audiences, you don't just have to send them an email. You can make use of all the different activities available inside a Journey Builder. So that could be mobile messaging, or it could be paid ads. So you do have a number of tools at your fingertips to enable you to remarket to your subscribers. Okay. So this is a pre-recorded session, but if you do have any questions, then do please feel free to reach out to Josh or myself. You can either email us at the email addresses listed here, or you can reach out to us directly on LinkedIn. Okay. So once again, I'd like to thank you for taking time out of your busy day to listen to this presentation.
Thank you, everyone.
Coacto are a Salesforce implementation company with over 18 years experience working with Salesforce. With our expertise in Salesforce, supply chain and ERP projects, we're here to support customers and partners in all stages of their implementation. We have a track record of success helping organisations to realise their Salesforce vision. Coact with us to make Salesforce work for you or your customers. Coacto, we realise your Salesforce vision.